Hi, everybody. The course we will have is International Trade, which is a key and a supporting course of the major of international economics and trade and the major of international business in China. This course will be delivered in English, and the targeting students of this course include the students who plan to go abroad to have further education, the students who have some English capability, and the overseas students whose home language is English. The whole course includes 4 parts. They are trade overview, trade theory, trade policy, and the trade system. It is based on the 9th edition of International Economics, the theory and the policy, which edited by Paul Krugman, Maurice Absford, and Millis, but the content beyond the textbook and combined with the lecturer's own research and understanding. Lots of data have been updated, and parts of lectures delivered from Asia perspective. The first section, we will talk about the importance of trade. And for this, we need to get to know what trade is. Simply put, trade is one country's import or export of goods or commercial services. For example, China imports soybean from USA and exports steel to European Union countries. All Chinese students go abroad to study in United Kingdom, and the Japanese citizens travel to China. Here, Chinese students go abroad to study in United Kingdom means United Kingdom exports education services to China. Japanese citizens travel to China means Japan imports tourism services from China. As for the importance of trade, maybe everybody will think about the controversial trade conflicts which started from 2017 and among United States of America and some other countries, especially China. During 2013 to 2018, trade conflicts maybe is the hottest event on the world. United States of America, China, and even the whole world economy have been affected by the trade conflicts seriously. So, why trade is so important? Firstly, from global level, trade is a key pillar of economic globalization. Trade includes export and import, contribute too much to economic globalization, especially the world economic growth. From figure 1, we can find that during 2005 to 2015, whenever world merchandise trade developed robust, and the performance of world real GDP growth rate also good. However, in 2009, because of the global financial crisis, world trade volume shrank heavily, which also put down the world real GDP growth rate to be negative. What's more, trade melts individual countries' market border, allow deeper labor division, and led the production that cannot be completed in one individual country to be possible on the world market. For example, the manufacture of a Boeing airplane needs millions of parts which imported from more than 70 countries. Secondly, export is one important engine of an individual country's economic growth. As we all know, that one country's national income equals domestic consumption plus private investment plus government expenditure plus next export. So, based on this, export with multiplier effect is crucial for one country's economic growth. Export, consumption, and investment usually been viewed as the 3 engines of economic growth. Besides this, Export combined with domestic investment and FDI also contributes to employment, government taxation, technological improvement, and even balance of payment. Take China as an example. In the past 4 decades, opening up to the world, especially export, has contributed too much to China's economic miracle. Thirdly, import is a complement to the domestic supply and introducing external competition. We must keep in mind that not only export is important for one country's economy, but import also important, because import can provide products or services that the domestic market cannot provide or cannot provide efficiently. More importantly, import introduces outside competition into domestic market and force the local firms try their best to innovate, to improve product quality, and to lower production cost. For example, as for China's accession to the WTO, lots of people worried about that China's economy will be destroyed by powerful foreign companies. Because if China chooses to be a member of the WTO, China must open our own market to other countries, which means other countries' products and services will rush into China's domestic market. Well, at that time, China's local companies were too weak and China's domestic products short of competitiveness. But nearly 20 years passed. What happened? Of course, lots of local firms bankrupt, but more companies created and also lots of local companies became stronger and stronger. Now, China is the biggest trader and the second largest economy on the world. Maybe to some degree, China's accession to the WTO, especially import and the introduction of external competition, contributed too much to this. In November 2018, Chinese government even started to have China International Import Expo, which is the first expo on the world that aims to encourage import. The establishment of this import expo, of course, will contribute to economic globalization and trade liberalization. However, China, once again, will benefit from the competition reinforcing effect that brought by the expo. Fourthly, trade hopes to improve efficiency and reinforce competitiveness. Through trade and labor division, every country focuses on the production of some specific products. By this way, individual country and the whole world's efficiency have been improved. At the same time, because of specialization and trade, countries can also benefit from large-scale production. Because of service offshoring or service outsourcing, firms can focus on the key steps of the production, and by this way, to reinforce their competitiveness. Lastly, as for the consumers, trade, especially import, also important. Because with import, they can have more choice and buy products or enjoy services of higher quality with lower price. Nowadays, we can access to kinds of products from different countries in the supermarket, and the price is usually acceptable. However, even trade is important for global economy, for individual country, for producers, and for consumers as well. We still need to keep in mind that, first, not all the people like trade. In fact, some particular group will be harmed by trade. The second, relying too much on trade, that's to say, trade dependency or trade openness is too high, it's not very good for one country, because it will make the country too fragile and easy to be affected by outside shocks. This is especially true for large countries. But unfortunately, some countries' trade dependency still very high. Some countries even exceed 100%. For example, Vietnam, its trade dependency achieved nearly 170% in 2015, even excluding service trade. How about China? We can find that in 2015, include service trade, China's trade dependency amount to 43.3%, still very high. The third, trade can be used as a strategic weapon against other countries. For example, about 270 years ago, in China, the state of Qi defeated two small states called Lu and Liang without any soldier. Why? Because at that time, the two small states produced and exported silk. Considered about this, the king of Qi asked all his citizens to wear the clothes made from silk. So Qi imported more and more silk from Lu and Liang, and the price of imported silk also soared, which induced nearly all the farmers in Lu and Liang to produce silk and give up the produce of food. How can Lu and Liang get food? The imported food from Qi. Unfortunately, several years later, the king of Qi told his citizens stop to wear the clothes made from silk. At the same time, stop to import silk from and export food to Lu and Liang. So what happened? Because nearly all the farmers in Lu and Liang already given up the producing of food, and the Qi stopped to sell food to them. So, because of a shortage of food, Lu and Liang were defeated by Qi. This is the story happened in ancient time. How about the modern time? Okay, trade also can be used as a strategic weapon. For example, if some country or country group dump food on other countries' market, it will destroy the import country's food industry and jeopardize the country's food security, even national security. In fact, nowadays, advanced countries or country group, for example, United States of America and the European Union, are doing just like this. Through domestic subsidy and export subsidy, they are dumping food on world market and undermining importing countries' food industry. Especially nowadays, USA is the biggest exporter of food, and China is the biggest importer of food. Undoubtedly, it's dangerous for China. So China must pay attention on this and prepare for the possible food crisis. Besides this, some countries like to take trade sanctions against the country that they view as a rival or even enemy. As for the trade conflict between USA and China, which originated in 2017, to some degree, it can be viewed as a trade war that triggered by USA against China. The aim is to suppress China's development. In conclusion, trade is important not only for global economy and individual country, but also for producers and consumers. Even most of people gain from trade, still somebody pays for it. Trade is usually an angel, but sometimes also can be devil.